Welcome to Rupp Arena, home of the greatest college basketball fan base in America. Kentucky looking for another victory, trying to improve to 4-1 on the season as they take on Mount St. Mary's. Coach Cal knows there's work to be done. He's been adamant about that, but still excited about this team overall, and we're excited to bring you action here at Rupp Arena. Welcome, everybody. Mike Morgan alongside the sharpshooter himself, John Sunvold. And John, when you look at this Kentucky team, very often it's a young team, very often trying to figure out who their best stars are, who the alpha dog is. Already 4 different leading scorers.
You know, this team will grow, obviously, but in game 1 against Michigan State, we got an idea that Tyrese Maxey is really, really good. He had 26 in the first game, and has struggled a little bit shooting. But now Nick Richards is picking up his games, can score offensively. Quickly, now can score offensively, and we think of the defensive player, Ashton Hagans, who we always know will be in the passing lanes for stealing shots. An explosive game against Utah State. They've got the people that can score. We'll see if they can do it tonight.
And they've got a full complement of players, which Coach Cal has not had in a while, and includes that guy, E.J. Montgomery, who looked very good working with the first team today in shoot-around. He's missed the last 3 games with that ankle injury. Expect him to come off the bench and give Kentucky some much-needed depth, particularly in the post. And manning the post right now, of course, is Nick Richards, enjoying his best offensive campaign in his 3-year career. He wins the opening tip. Kentucky in white. Mount St. Mary's in blue.
And obviously, if Kentucky's healthy, it'll be a different team that they've been the last couple times out.
Richards down low, and Richards finds himself all alone for the slam.
Terrific play by Hagans. Took it right over the top. Mike, this is the first time, I'm going to just say the very first time I've ever done a game, Kentucky, any team, Kentucky's uniforms, number 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I was thinking the same thing.
Flush somewhere.
I know. If we were at the poker table in Vegas, we'd be doing pretty well right now.
It reminds me of coaching Little League. That's how all the kids were lined up and put them by the numbers.
Richards again. Second two-hand flush for the junior.
A lot of articles locally about what's wrong with our Wildcats.
Right.
Well, we thought they'd come out in a strong, make a statement tonight early, and so far they have.
Made a statement in a positive direction with a win over Michigan State, and then, of course, the loss to Evansville, and not so impressive in a win in the last time out against Utah Valley.
So how good can they be on the defensive end, get a one and done, and then push tempo, get out and run? Can't turn it over.
Richards was not looking for that pass. Quickly in the other end, straight on Sestina, rims off. Offensive rebound, shot back up. Sestina and Richards. At least one of them got a piece of it, maybe both.
Do you get? Does each guy get a block for that? Blocks?
Absolutely.
Well, this is what we're talking about, Kentucky. You got to attack and be to the rim. If you're Mount St. Mary's, you've got to be able to guard the basket. That was a concern today, and this is just on a fast break. You can see how Richards can run the floor.
Leading scorer is Tyrese Maxey. Gives it off to Hagans. It's Sestina on a 3. Kentucky has really labored from behind the arc, shooting a very pedestrian 21%.
And they've got to stay confident. That shot was right on our angle, was right on it, just a bit long. The Mountaineers love to put it on the floor, try to get to the lane, and then pitch out and see if they can knock in threes. They want to stretch this defense if they can.
Another offensive rebound for the Mountaineers, and a stick back is up and in. That is Malik Jefferson, the 6'9" sophomore. Mount St. Mary's out of the Northeast Conference. Their first NCAA tournament in Division I came in 1995. The team they faced in the opening round, the Kentucky Wildcats, the only meeting between these two schools.
And I got to meet Mr. Tony Delk, who gave him 20 points in that game.
That's right. A great player Tony was. Shot clock under 5 for Maxey, and he carried.
Mountaineers predominantly a man-to-man defensive team, a pack line defensive team. They want you to make jump shots with a hand in their face. They put it inside, they'll double team early.
Coach Calipari, he's been here, as you mentioned, John, several times before, now in his 11th season. And he'll be happy to see what just came out on the floor for him. One of his weapons that has been out of service for a while, E.J. Montgomery into the game for the first time.
Coach Cal, Hall of Famer, and has to do it almost with a new team every year.
Yeah.
That's the amazing part.
Strong take But a rough air ball scooped up by Hagans. Hagans gliding in the front court. Another alley-oop pass, and there on the finish is Khalil Whitney and his 42-inch vertical leap.
Yeah, Whitney is a freakish athlete. Run, powerful, can defend multiple positions, but when he gets out on the floor, a great find by Hagans, the point guard. As he looks, he's trying to figure out where his guys are, where they are on the wing. And again, if you anywhere by the rim, Whitney's going to finish.
Kentucky has 3 guards who can really run the floor well, and Hagans, Tyrese Maxey, and of course Emmanuel Quickly. Very versatile guards that can not only score but are good distributing the basketball. I think that the number that surprises me, John, it's only a 4-game sample, I know, and that the shooting you would expect to get better, but 43 assists, 55 turnovers.
Yeah, again, not normal, and it'll change. And if you're not shooting the ball well, you're not going to get many assists.
Right.
And so what we've already seen tonight is the fact, get out and run. Get some easy buckets. Confidence goes up as a shooter. Get a layup, get a free throw, and then be confident when you get the outside shot.
Rebound knocked down by Opoku, a 6'9" sophomore out of Woodbridge, Virginia. Mount St. Mary's located not too far from Maryland, from Baltimore, Maryland. And there's the man from Jamaica, Nick Richards, with a hoop in the arm.
As Richards posts up inside, Ashton Hagans made the comment, for this team to be at its best, we're going to need Nick every night on the offensive end.
Now, he is a different player on the offensive end so far this year. Freshman, sophomore year, a little bit limited, more of a rim protector, but a lot more confidence in his game. You and I were out here hours before tip. The first guy on the floor working on his game was Nick Richards, practicing all those hook shots and mid-range jumpers from the baseline. You see up to 13.8 a game.
The best part, the fact is he's aggressive and he's getting to the foul line. He's an 85% free throw shooter. And for a big guy, that's a bonus.
Maxey sets it up for Whitney. Back to Maxey. And Whitney on the return, and he just lost it out of bounds. A wild dribble.
We talked about if Kentucky could come out and make a statement early. It really doesn't matter the opponent. They just want to have a good game offensively. And instead of settling for jump shots, they have pushed, and they've had some great, easy finishes. Big Blue Nation, a little more happier tonight.
Everybody has a reputation, some good, some not so good. What if you could check people's reputation scores to find out who you're really associating with? That's the power of My Life. My Life is better than Google for uncovering everything from hidden criminal records to personal character reviews.
I look up everyone. Neighbors, home service providers, even so-called friends.
Reputation is everything. Protect yourself with My Life. Check anyone's reputation, including your own, at mylife.com.
Richards with 7 of Kentucky's 9 points in the early going. 9-5 our score. For the Wildcats, who come in at 3-1. Kind of a mixed bag overall. You defeat Michigan State in the opener at the Garden. You look impressive in doing so. Tyrese Maxey puts on a clinic. You blow out Eastern Kentucky. Then you lose shockingly at home to Evansville. Don't look good in a win against Utah Valley, in which Kentucky missed 11 out of 12 shots. Coach Cal very adamant about how he feels about his team.
You don't have to make every shot. You just can't miss them all. Can't miss them all. You don't have to make them all. Just can't miss every shot. Thank goodness we were 1 for 12. We almost missed every shot. Hope we're better than this, but right now, what you're seeing is who we are. We got to get EJ back, got to get Emmanuel back, and figure out what we are.
Well, John, we know Kentucky is talented. They always are. But what is this team? What is the DNA of this team overall as you see it?
Well, the DNA always from John Calipari is on the defensive end, right? If they play defense. Jump shooters will start making jump shots. They've got young kids. Yes, they've had tough nights shooting. Honestly, when I watch them, I'm not that concerned about that. I watch guys warm up. They're good shooters. What they have to get is they don't need to turn the ball over as much as they have been. When you have young players at times, they think too much. They don't react and play. If you are aggressive defensively and can get steals and can get rebounds, then you can push the tempo. Then shooting becomes easier because it's all in rhythm.
Mount St. Mary's with the basketball down by 4. Chong Hui is the point guard, the diminutive one.
He's quick. He will attack if he gets deep in the lane. He'll normally want to kick it out for shooters. Vado Morse is not in the game, their leading scorer. He hurt his knee against UAB.
Shot clock down to 1. Got to fire it up quickly. Not in time. Violation. Great man-to-man defense there by Big Blue. Dan Engelstadt in his second year as the head coach of Mount St. Mary's, former head coach of Southern Vermont, where he did a remarkable turnaround job with that program.
Was assistant many years ago at Mount St. Mary's. And, you know, this team has been pretty good so far this year. Struggled to get some wins. They were up against Georgetown by 12 at half. Didn't win that game. They were even with Washington, who's a good team, at half. Didn't win that game.
See Maxey on a strong take. He's their leading scorer coming into this game at 16 tonight. You saw that number on the screen there. Kentucky just 13 made three-pointers all year long. And 21% on the year, as you pointed out, as there's a 3 on the other end for Hobway. That's a number that has to get better. It will get better.
Yeah, it will get better. And again, I think we go back to the defensive end.
Pull-up jumper. Off the mark by Quickly. Emmanuel Quickly said he's going to be much more aggressive this year as a sophomore.
Nice pass.
And the finish down low. Chidozie Nomake. Been waiting to say that name all night.
Well, 2 good assists. And if they make Kentucky guard for, in the possessions, see how the rotation is.
Hagen's alley-oop to Richards, who's undercut down low by Hobway. So Richards very active so far.
The ability to come off the dribble, and you see Kentucky not communicating. Montgomery got stuck just watching the play. Guy rolls down the middle. There's a double team out front.
Sestina back into the game for Kentucky, the transfer from Bucknell. Going to ask a lot of that young man this year. Baseline jumper, and maybe that'll get the confidence going for E.J. Montgomery, the 6'10 sophomore from Fort Pierce, Florida.
Likes to face up.
Off the dribble. And a good drive on Montgomery draws the foul. Hobway on the take.
Ball movement. If you can have ball movement, you get body movement, you'll make a defense shift. And Montgomery now back. That weren't sure if he'd play, but obviously had a good shoot around. Looked good. Coming off an ankle. Quickly didn't play against Mississippi State. Or Utah Valley, I'm sorry, in chest injury. It's good to have a full group of guys.
You see Dan Engelstadt, who we referred to moments ago, now in his second year with this program. One of the younger coaches in Division I. Montgomery rips down the rebound. 2-point game as we near the 13-minute mark here at Rupp Arena in Lexington.
Matchup zone defense. See if the ball can get into the free throw line. Bad turnover. Unforced error when you throw it away against a matchup zone. You've got plenty of time to find open areas to throw the ball. You don't need to force it.
Already 4 turnovers on Kentucky. Chong Hui misfires on the 3. The new three-point line if you're just getting started in this installment of college basketball. Of course, that line has been brought back about 15 inches to about 22 feet, the international line. You being a three-point man back in the day, what do you think?
Well, I think it's good for the game. Kids are shooting from outside, a long ways out. Steph Curry world, all the kids are shooting deep. I don't think it's an effect. I'd move it. A few years, I think they'll go to the NBA line.
Inside, up, and in for Ashton Hagens. A lot more confidence in his offensive game. The defense is always there. That travels. Three from the wing. Sestina boards it. Into the waiting hands of Maxey. Maxey full throttle, gliding and finishing.
Explosive.
Mr. Texas basketball last year. His father, Tyrone, played guard at Washington State. And how about Ashton Hagans thus far as well? Inside, Kentucky's guards start to heat up. Wildcats up by 6.
Free one-day delivery on millions of items. With Prime.
Kentucky up by 6, 17-11 with 12:18 to go in half number 1. On Friday, we've got a men's doubleheader for you right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Number 9, Kentucky plays host to UAB at Rupp Arena. That'll be our first game at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then we'll take you to Gainesville for Marshall taking on the Gators. Speaking of the Gators, big win in Charleston earlier today as they battled the Miami Hurricanes of the ACC and took them down in convincing fashion. A 20-point win. Blackshear, another double-double for the Gators, who have advanced now to the championship game. And how about that number at the bottom? Florida, who had also struggled shooting. They go 10 for 19 from behind the arc.
Yeah, they're a team a year ago that I thought went hot and cold from three-point land. Now they've got good shooters. They've not gotten off to a good start yet this year. Blackshear, you saw the 2011. He also had 5 assists. He was outstanding. He is kind of the number 1 transfer player that everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Mike White landed him, and he is a valuable piece because he's the only senior that Florida has. They've got a young squad.
They really do, and I think Andrew Nembhard is a guy that's still trying to figure out how to work with all those talented freshmen around him as well, but that is far from a finished product. You see the preseason poll, and I've said this a number of times, and I know the point has been belabored, but you go 1 through 10, and that might even be selling it short. I don't want to play South Carolina this year. I don't want to play Georgia, Ole Miss. I mean, it is another deep league in the SEC.
Well, you think of the guys in this league so far. Mississippi State lost today to Villanova, but think of the guys that have started well from, pick a school. Go to Arkansas. Isaiah Joe's averaging 20 a game. Kyra Lewis is averaging 21 a game at Alabama. There are some terrific players in this league. Lamonte Turner, Jordan Bowden both went over the 1,000-point mark this week. There's some guys off to a good start. You got freshmen like Anthony Edwards, nearly 20 points a game in Georgia. A league that is going to be difficult to go on the road. Now, there's some teams trying to find their way. It's November, December. And we know, though, the meaning of November and December in non-conference games is huge for the NCAA.
Certainly is, and that's a place where the SEC has improved dramatically to the tune of 15 bids in the last 2 seasons. It's the second highest total of any conference in America, and poised again to have another deep league and high quantity of teams in the field. Sean Kui on Richards. That's a little bit of a mismatch.
Good defense. I'm surprised Key gave up his dribble.
Sean Kui takes it, scoops it off of Richards. Wow.
Might have gotten away with a little bit of a hook. Kui at only 5'8". A little hook on the big man. You'll see that for guards.
Sean Kui, no matter who you're pulling for, is one of the young men you'll pull for in college basketball this season. Lost his mother at 4 years of age. She was shot and killed in the Baltimore area. Father was shot 7 times when he was 12, is still paralyzed from that, and still attends many of the games he's here tonight at Rupp Arena. Young man who's been through a lot of adversity. Fadeaway jumper, and he's starting to heat up now.
Every point guard, every lead guard loves the fact when you switch big on little, and all of a sudden he's got a big guy. All he's got to do is make moves. It's a tough matchup for any center, especially Richards so far.
Quickly. Juzang. That is the shot they need him to make. He can be a great three-point weapon. Johnny Juzang, the freshman from Los Angeles, with a pretty stroke.
Has only taken 6 threes. Has only made 1 so far this season.
Foul on the floor, and that'll go against Kentucky.
And Dan Eaglestad is going to continue to run the high pick and roll for Quee, because again, he's getting switched with a big guy. Big guys don't move their feet as well. Quickness can either go by him, or the threat to go by him. You back up a big man and you've got a jump shot.
Sean Quee, who started off as a walk-on, they finally gave him a scholarship this year. And the heart and soul of this team, just a sophomore. Three ball off the mark, and there's the rebound by Juzang. Juzang leading the break. To Maxey. Back to Juzang. Baseline jumper is too strong. Here come the Mountaineers on the other end.
What Coach Cal say? You can't miss them all.
But you got to make some.
Yeah.
We don't expect you to make them all, Cal always says, but you do got to make a few. Now it's Mount St. Mary's making a few, and they've taken the lead.
And the Mount is playing well on the offensive end. They are making the Wildcats guard when they switch. They're putting it on the floor, getting to the paint, and then they kick, and their shooters are ready to shoot. Look how wide open and spacing. Gibbs goes right to the lane. You've got to have help side defense, and if you don't get out to these shooters, they're going to make you pay.
7-0 run for the Mountaineers, who again hail from the Northeast Conference. Same conference that produced Fairleigh Dickinson in the NCAA tournament last year. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the SEC Nation crew will be traveling to Athens, Georgia for Texas A&M against the Bulldogs. Laura, Marty, Marcus, Paul, and Tim break down everything from the gridiron to the grill for Week 13 of the college football season. SEC Nation presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors right here on the SEC Network. He is John Sunvold. I am Mike Morgan. Great to be with you on this Friday evening from Rupp Arena in Lexington. The Wildcats still kind of a work in progress, John.
So, Mike, let's quickly think what has happened. They've not gotten stops on the defensive end. They've not been able now then to push and get easier looks. They've had to go to half-court sets. The Mountaineers have kind of been solid, pack line defense, make Kentucky make jump shots, don't get beat off the dribble and get beat to the rim.
Tapped around, Richards will have another chance at the free throw line. Nick Richards, just too big, too long for anybody Mount St. Mary's can throw out there.
Well, even the guards out front, Hagens, it goes at 6'3", and Chankui is 5'8", so he just pounds it inside.
And last year, Richards only averaging 4 points. He's in much better shape this year, has redefined his body. Went to the same high school as former Wildcat star Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Born in Jamaica, moved to New York City. And John Calipari landed the big man, who's now in his junior season and got a chance to really evolve his game. If he's going to play at the next level, some polish would certainly help.
You know, Cal made a comment that a couple writers may be snickered at. He said he might be our best shooter. Now, he doesn't pop out and shoot threes.
Right.
But he shoots at a high percentage. He's 85% free throw line, and he might have a point.
Well, what I like about him, too,
effective.
He takes good shots.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
So many big men now want to prove that they can hit threes. 9.5 to go. A 1-point game. And a bump foul on the perimeter by Hagens. That is only the third team foul on Kentucky.
Mike, look how open the lane is when Mount St. Mary's gets their spacing going. love to go off the dribble, try to create weak side help so they can find shooters out front.
Good looking shot, and he got his own rebound, did Hobley. In the trees. Nice kick out pass, sets up an open three. Quickly to Higgins. Back out to Quickly. Montgomery from 15. Strong take. No. Montgomery there to clear it up. Quick pass ahead to Higgins. Alley-oop. And a bump foul on the floor. No bucket. And that's going to go against Whitney. I thought perhaps Whitney was held trying to go up for the alley-oop.
I didn't like the pass by Higgins. I didn't like the idea of it. His guy didn't quite have the angle.
Oh, yeah.
You see the push off there.
Also number 11, 90 million.
You got to see it. It's got to be there. It's one of those almost 2-on-2 play because the defender was getting back. The other part the Mountaineers have done the last 4 or 5 minutes, if they miss, they've got 4 bodies back defensively.
Right.
They're making this Wildcat team get in that half-court setup.
Kentucky man-to-man, as they will be for 40 minutes. A block, but also a foul. I believe Montgomery got the foul. Richards got the clean part of that block. Two free throws coming up for Malik Jefferson. Jefferson had a double-double in the game against UAB the other night. 10 points, 11 rebounds.
Jefferson, more of an inside player. You got to take away his drop step. Kind of play him for his left shoulder, but he's very active.
You see a little background on Mount St. Mary's. Emmitsburg, Maryland, not too far from Baltimore. 5 NCAA tournament appearances since they moved from Division II. They won Division II back in 1962, the national champs. Empty trip at the line. 1-point game coming up on the 8-minute mark of half number 1.
Matchup zone again. They've only run it a couple times. First time was a turnover by Kentucky.
Whitney, deep 2. Tapped around and into the hands of Mount St. Mary's and Jefferson.
Boy, how do you miss a Tyler Hero, huh?
Yeah. Well, you know, I mentioned Johnny Juzang, not to say that he was going to be Tyler Hero, but they thought he'd help him out. Jalen Gibbs, meanwhile, helps out the Mountaineers with that shot.
And right now on the defensive end, Kentucky's not making the Mountaineers do anything differently than they want to do.
Another 3 rims out. Kentucky continues to struggle from downtown, 0 for 3.
Leftwich has been good off the dribble when he's come in the game, has the ball now. So the Wildcats have taken nothing away on the defensive end from the Mountaineers. They're running what they want to run. They're spacing where they want to space. 4th shot there.
And was bailed out by a foul. Free throws upcoming for Mount St. Mary's, who has the lead.
Well, the Mountaineers have done it on the offensive end. They have made this Wildcat team defend in a way that the Wildcats maybe didn't think they'd have to defend. Another surprise at Rupp Arena. The Mount up 1.
Tis the season for all things Ultimate. The Ultimate Cheesy Garlic Bread Collection at Subway, featuring the new Ultimate Steak. Savory garlic herb butter spread, mozzarella bubbling to perfection for the ultimate melty cheesy experience. Hurry, like the holidays, this won't last forever.
one-day delivery on millions of items. With Prime.
Well, Kentucky loses great players every year, but pretty notable this past season when you take a look at P.J. Washington, who could always get you a bucket in late clock situations. Tyler Hero, a lethal three-point shooter, is already lighting it up in the NBA with the Miami Heat. Keldon Johnson, your lunch pail guy, a whole lot of productivity. Reed Travis was a guy who could bang inside for you. And really, when you look at it, John Sunvolt, Mike Morgan, John, I think the biggest loss, those first two guys, because you don't see the three-point shot that you want to have, that you had with Hero. P.J. Washington made as much improvement as anybody, freshman to sophomore year, always could get you a late bucket.
Well, P.J. Washington was fabulous last year. We see what he's doing in the NBA, and Tyler could get you a shot. Reed Travis was the guy that just kind of did everything, right? All the little stuff you didn't think about. He cleaned everything up. And then obviously Keldon Johnson could get you 20 on different nights. So, but that's the norm here in Lexington, right? You're taking a look at guys that are in the NBA. They do it every year. They make adjustments every year. And it's expected that the guys that returning have to step up their game, and then the new freshmen. Right. This is where the big boys play. Like this, you don't get to gently walk in here like you do at many places. The fans expect you to walk in and be ready to play at a high level. And they did it first night out against Michigan State.
I would remind people, Tyler Hero had some learning curve early on as a freshman last year.
Nice goal.
There's a blow-by and a bucket for Ashton Hagans.
Hagan's great off the dribble. I mean, he's quick, he's powerful, he's got kind of a physical body, 6'3", just over 200 pounds. I'm more concerned really tonight, a little bit Kentucky on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Mountaineers, one of those teams that just continues to go off the bounce. Good block there.
Richards slaps that one against the backboard. A runner by Quickly, no. Follow-up by Richards, no. There's Sestina. Shot clock resets to 20 this year now on an offensive rebound. Hagans on a pull-up, smooth.
If they're going to go under the screen on the pick and roll, set it lower. Now you've got an easier jump shot. That's what they did. Reset it, go lower. They're going to go underneath, just take the easy shot. Well, we talked about the defensive end. And Richards with the block, and what does it do? You push, you find openings, you find avenues. Mountaineers not protecting the rim. Easy one by Hagans.
Nick Richards getting a much-deserved breather already with 9 points and 2 rebounds to go along with that last block. 2 blocks overall for the junior. Still, it's a 1-point game and another Kentucky turnover.
Bad angle by Montgomery on the pass. A lob pass, even though you've got a bigger guard in there against small guard. Lob pass probably not going to work from that angle. Turnover.
6 turnovers already on the Wildcats in this first half. Hagans surveys, finding Maxey, and Maxey will go to the free throw line. Tyrese Maxey, everybody who watched that game against Michigan State saw how he could ignite in a hurry, and it looks like he's going to need to ignite in this game. He is a guy that has incredible scoring punch. Son of a coach, former McDonald's All-American, Mr. Basketball in the state of Texas, out of Garland, Texas. Just one of those guys. Some guys are simply wired to score, and he's one of those guys.
What I've noticed, and not just Maxey, but as they push the ball, the offensive end, for a break, even though the Wildcats have some shooters that aren't shooting well, but they're not wanting to take those shots. Most of them are putting on the floor, getting the rim, which is fine. You're getting fouled. But naturally, you used to see shooters spotting up on a break and just taking shots. Well, their confidence is staggered just a bit.
It's been rocked a little bit. Kentucky has yet to hit a 3 in this game, but trying to get points on the interior, up by 3. Coming up on 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Backdoor cut, and pinball action squirts into the hands of another Mountaineer. 5 on the shot clock. Jefferson has to just fire it up there and finds nothing but the bottom of the net.
Scouting report, don't let him turn back to the left shoulder. And Sestina was thinking about getting there, but he got there too late.
Maxey up top to Higgins. Gets a ball screen from Sestina. Higgins on a blow by and is hacked. I'd like to see more of that from Ashton Higgins. I think he can be lethal off the dribble. Great first step, strong guard. You mentioned the size.
You throw in the post, scouting report. Sestina is now got to take away his left shoulder, and he got there too late. He was thinking as he tried to almost put a block to him with his arms. The transfer from Bucknell, solid last year, 16 points, 12 rebounds a game.
Sestina, nice pass to Montgomery. That's some great offense that'll make Coach Cal happy.
Quick double team by the Mountaineers that time, and Sestina found it right away.
Big to big for the Kentucky bucket. Leftwich probing. Trying to kick out pass. Higgins was all over it. Almost like a block kick, but then a foul. A reach-in foul on Higgins. Make it quickly on the foul. Higgins to Sestina, finding a healthy E.J. Montgomery on the finish. Kentucky, though, getting all they can handle from the mount.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you.
Free one-day delivery, video, music, and more. With Prime.
Sarah's last tuition payment sent off. Feeling good?
Oh, yeah. Now I'm ready to focus on my project.
This is why we plan. Oof. You never cease to amaze me, Mike.
See how investing with a JP Morgan advisor can help you. Visit your local Chase branch.
Anybody there?
Guys, thank you much. Yeah, we'll see if they heed the advice of one Pat Bradley. Take it to the hole a little bit more. So far, in a little bit more of a dogfight that probably most would have expected. 27-24.
I do. I can hear you.
With 3:57 to go. Mike Morgan with you here, center court. John Sundvold has turned into our intrepid reporter over there on the other side in the corner. Getting a different angle over there, John.
I am going to take the angle that some of these great fans have from in the lower end and down by the Kentucky bench. So if I'm here, I'm going to see what kind of angle I've got that the coaches are seeing on maybe how they're playing on the defensive end. And then at halftime, we'll get Coach Cal as he comes off. But this will give me a little different look, Mike.
And just for the record, no eligibility left for you, John Sundvold.
I have no knees, but I think the elbow still works.
So does the jumper. And so far, the jumpers have worked pretty well for underdog Mount St. Mary's, looking for their second win of the year. And it's down to a 2-point lead for Kentucky. Dan Engelstead, second-year head coach, looking on. He felt good about this matchup, just kind of breaking things down today at shoot-around. Talked about how to defend Kentucky, saw some weaknesses. And, of course, the loss to Evansville and even the win over Utah Valley.
You know, he felt comfortable because of the fact that how they've played. And when you're ahead of Georgetown double figures and you play Washington even for a half, his kids were excited, though, when they walked in this building, which every collegiate player would be.
Yeah, you know Kentucky's always going to get the opponent's best shot when they play at Rupp Arena.
And I think the difference in today's world versus many years ago is that kids that come in here know they're really playing against freshmen and sophomores. Good pass down low.
And a good finish by Keon Brooks. First time we've called his name tonight, the 6'7" freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's part of Lumiere's great high school team that was 30-1 and ranked #1 in the nation at times last year. Good take, but another block. And there for the follow, Malik Jefferson playing big in the paint.
One thing you'll always notice that Richards is always going to try to get that block. So who he's guarding, that guy's going to try for an offensive rebound. There's got to be rotation happen more quickly for this Kentucky team.
Shot clock under 10 for Maxey. Working around the horn. Now inside Richards, and he's pushed with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Not a good foul by Jefferson, as Kentucky looked a little bit out of sorts there. Late clock. That is only 16 fouls, so no free throws as of yet.
Mike, think about when you come into Rupp Arena, and here Kentucky sits with only 29 points. With 2.5 minutes left. The Mountaineers got to feel really good. They've been solid on defensively when they've gotten back and not given Kentucky easy buckets. And then offensively, they've been able to space out the Wildcats and get the shots they want.
John, this is not going to do anything to kind of quiet some of the noise about what is going on with Kentucky's offense. As we've seen, just short of a half here of play, is there legitimate reason to be concerned?
Well, I think the concern is, obviously it's early. The only concern I would have is how quickly does it take some of the future star players that they have to gain the confidence on the offensive end, to catch and make jump shots. Because then that stretches the floor. That changes the whole game if you've got 2 or 3 guys. And they do have shooters. If you've got 2 or 3 guys that can stretch a defense, now the middle's open for guys like Quickly and Hagans that can drive it. And the bigs will have easier settling inside.
Unnecessary foul, 45 feet from the basket. John Calipari is saying, what are you doing? That is a gift here in the holiday season. And it sets up a 1-and-1 for Mount St. Mary's. Damian Chongqui out of Baltimore, Maryland. Got a fine game, this Chongqui.
Chongqui has controlled tempo. He has controlled spacing. He has controlled when he wants to take it, when he doesn't. He calls the picks. Offensively, when he wants a screen, he then usually takes it off and gets a mismatch. He's 5'8". He wants any 6'10" guy to guard him. And that has kept this Mountaineer team within 1.
6 points, 2 dimes for Chongqui, and it's back to a 1-point game.
Matchup zone defense again. Good pass down low.
And count the basket for Ashton Hagans, just muscling his way to the bucket.
Hagans is really good in the fact that he can find openings. So he slides himself along the baseline, short end of the baseline. And once you've got it there, he's got a couple options. The first one is just do what he did. He took the bounce in the rim. The other part is you play the middle of the floor. He's going to have a teammate coming down the lane for another bucket. So give Hagans credit for being able to find the openings and a little more patience this time on the offensive end.
John, that looked good from midcourt. How did they look to you from 100 feet away?
Yeah, it's pretty good. This is a pretty good seat over here, though, Mike. I'll prefer yours.
Maybe we'll trade off second half.
Maybe I'll ask some of these fine folks what do they pay for this ticket.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Rumor has it we might be getting some bourbon ice cream second half, so you better make your way back over here.
There we go. I'll be there.
4-point game, strong take. Again, Richards, if he's not blocking shots, he's altering them. Here's Maxey to Sestina. Back to Maxey on the return, and that is good offense, and that is a much-needed 3 for Kentucky, the first of the night.
The loudest roar from Big Blue Nation we've heard all night. And on a simple jump shot, but a huge jump shot for Maxey. This is what we talked about. Can the shooters open themselves up to just catch and release and knock the shots in with confidence?
Maxey, the top three-point shooter, his 6th of the year. Kentucky's only hit 14 threes all season. Again, that's not the staple of a Coach Cal team, but certainly the normal mark is better than that. Shot clock under 10. Desperation three off the mark, and another offensive rebound. So shot clock resets to 20. And a whistle. As we remind you, a triple header of college football coming up this Saturday. It'll be number 15 Auburn playing host to Samford at noon. And then it's UT Martin at Kentucky. The Wildcats, what a year for Wynn Bowden playing quarterback, the wide receiver. And then Tennessee at Mizzou at 7:30. Kentucky's basically running the ball with their quarterback about 80% of the time. Everybody knows the play's coming and nobody's stopping it.
That is true. They're not stopping it. He keeps running.
Eddie Gran, offensive coordinator of the year maybe in the SEC with what he has been able to do.
Not even play action passes.
Yeah.
Just straight runs.
Straight runs. Everybody in the building knows it's coming and nobody is stopping it. It's got a little bit of a warning. Dan Engelstead was out of the coach's box, and Mike Nance, veteran official, quickly blew the whistle and said, "Back on up, young man."
He shuffled his feet quickly, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Kind of like a moonwalk. Michael Jackson would have been proud of that move. Jonquil fouled on the floor by Maxey. Now a 1-and-1 upcoming with the sophomore guard is really controlled tempo, offense, everything you alluded to earlier, John. He's been magnificent.
Yeah, and he's not. They've not taken him out of his comfort zone. I mean, he's been able to run what he wants to run. Space out everything. Every time down, he's just trying to get a switch, so he's got a big on him. And then all he's doing is attacking that big, and that's difficult when the guy's 5'8", and you're just trying to bend to get close to him.
Yeah, we all remember Tyler Ulis of Kentucky and how small he was, a dominating guard. Tyler Ulis was 2 inches taller than Jonquil. Weaving. Dealing. Higgins will go to the free throw line.
You know, if there's a strength on one end, sometimes there's a weakness on the other. At 5'8", Higgins is just bigger, stronger, more physical. And Jonquil makes good defense, but again, the strength of Higgins, he's had it about 3 or 4 plays this first half.
Higgins a part of a really deep and talented crop of point guards this year in the Southeastern Conference. Would have been a senior in high school last year, reclassified, of course. A young freshman a year ago and deferred to a number of the other Kentucky veteran players. But this year, no need to defer for Ashton Higgins.
Co-defensive player of the year last year as a freshman says a lot about him and what he did. Now they've got to have it night in, night out as the leader of his team. It's difficult, tough assignment.
And leading the way with 11 points is Higgins. Kentucky has its largest lead of 7. Another whistle. Again, 20-some-odd feet away from the basket. Second foul on Higgins.
Higgins frustrated because, again, solid defender, great defender. Coach Cal frustrated. Little body calls.
Free throw up and in for Nominee. Coach Cal in his 11th year with Kentucky. Year in, year out, one of the top programs in college basketball since he arrived in Lexington. Multiple Final Fours, Elite Eights. But you know the goals here, pretty simple. They want the natty.
Yeah,
he's got one of them. They want another. Juzang back in the game.
Big difference between shot clock, game clock. About 6 or 7 seconds.
Maxey launches a deep three. And now it'll be Mount St. Mary's playing for the final shot. Five to shoot. Now three. That's a three on the way. Brick City, and that's how half number one will come to a close. A 5-point lead for Kentucky, who started off sluggish offensively and then started to heat up late. Ashton Hagans leading the way on 4 of 5 shooting. 11 points for the Wildcats, who continue to struggle from downtown, just 1 of 5. Tyrese Maxey, the freshman, with a teaching moment there with Coach Cal. Coach Cal is going to chat with John Sunvold here in just a moment as soon as that conversation ends. John, take it away.
Coach Cal, your thoughts first half?
We're still not there. Pick and roll defense stinks right now, and all they're doing is putting us in, and we're either staying too long, our guards aren't fighting, so it's a combination. We just got work to do.
First few minutes of the game, defense was better. You got pushes, then it wasn't quite so.
You make a substitution, and they go on an 8-0 run. It tells the guys that went in, what are you doing now? You got to help us when we put you in.
All right, good luck second half.
39-34 is our halftime score. Plenty coming up, including first half stats, highlights, and scores. Dari Noka and Pat Bradley will take you throughout the half. Kentucky out to a 39-34 halftime lead here at Rupp Arena as we get ready for half number 2. The Wildcats looking to improve to 4-1 on the season. Mike Morgan, John Sunvold, great to be with you. And I got to tell you, John, it's great to have Kentucky bourbon ice cream. Taylor Bell's, I mean, they do this right.
This is really good. You might, you may do this second half alone.
I have a feeling it could come of that. Seth Greenberg almost left me alone for the second half when he had some of that ice cream. Tell you what also went down smooth was Ashton Hagans' offense late in that first half. 11 points to lead the way.
Again, a smart player on the offensive end. He attacked baseline when he could and found easy ways to get baskets just to keep this Kentucky offense going, whether it was against the man and he attacked or that time against the zone. And if you do that, it allows your teammates like Tyrese Maxey to do what he does. We know he's explosive off the dribble. We've seen that. And the biggest roar of the first half was when he knocked in this three-pointer. They were only 1 for 5 from 3. But on defense, they've not been able to stop Chung Key, and he has been terrific. Off the bounce, he's got 8 points, a couple assists. His season average is around 8, so he had a terrific half.
As we continue to consume high calories on ice cream, Kentucky feasting on the free throw line, a perfect 10 for 10. It's really the difference in this game. Again, the outside shooting has been a little bit streaky. Ashton Hagans, most of his buckets going to the basket. Kentucky started off 8 for 11, then hit a cold freeze of 1 for 9 before finishing hot. Points in the paint, not surprisingly, Kentucky leading there. We'll see if the Wildcats can make a statement here in this second half. I think this fan base wants to see a convincing win.
Yeah, well, you know, last game against Utah Valley, they were only 1 of 12 from 3. Well, they're 1 of 5 the first half. You don't have to shoot threes. There's other ways to score, and they do that. And the start of the game was defense, rebounding, push, find some open looks.
And Cal has mixed up the starting 5 in the second half. Keon Brooks and E.J. Montgomery in the starting 5 here in the second half. And if you joined us late, E.J. Montgomery back from that ankle injury. He had missed the last 3 games, looking good so far. No problem with his movements on the floor. Contested that shot, did Montgomery, but an offensive rebound. And finally, it's Keon Brooks tearing it away before he's fouled.
You know, Brooks in the lineup, 6'7". He obviously played in the first half. Can shoot it. Makes a lot of guard-type plays. He's got that ability, even as long as he is.
His father, Keon Sr., played basketball at Wright State. Had a monster senior year back when he averaged 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Let's see what Kentucky has to offer here on offense to start the second half. Again, a different group of 5 on the floor for Coach Cal. Alley-oop pass. Richards, count the basket plus the foul. When in doubt, go to number 4 down low.
You know, the thing is, the aggressive and attacking mode that Maxey put on with the dribble. He caught it on a cut coming in, but he put it to the floor and put his head down, and all of a sudden, the vision to see his teammate up by the rim. Much harder attack.
He is a different player this year. 11 points and 4 rebounds for Richards. Short on that one, but there's Montgomery slithering in.
Obviously, the Wildcats want to play downhill. They want to attack with their speed, even in a half-court set. They've got enough talent off the dribble. If the spacing's good and the lanes are open, they've got guys who can really attack.
Richards trying to beat his man on the drive to no dismay, and there's Hobway all the way on the other end with the bucket.
Nice move by Hobway. Initially, he did not have numbers. What he did on the finish, he just attacked until he was stopped. He wasn't stopped.
Kick out past Montgomery. And that will get his confidence going, perhaps. C.J. Montgomery knocking down his first three-pointer of the season.
Big smile on his face as he headed up the floor.
Looked like a walk, no call, and then a foul on the shot. I thought maybe Opoku got away with steps.
Well, after his jump shot, I think he took the shot from about 4 feet further away inside the lane than when he stopped. And most of the Kentucky fans would agree with your analysis, Mike, that, yeah, it looked like he moved his feet a little bit.
I think he might have pulled off a little David Copperfield right there. It's the third foul on Montgomery, something he's also battled is foul trouble. Opoku front iron on the first. Sestina will check in for Montgomery. Sestina, much like Montgomery, can play that stretch 4. Crowd loud on the second, and another brick.
Hello, Rupp Arena.
Rupp got awfully loud on that one. Capacity now at Rupp Arena, 20,000, 3,000 fewer seats than before. And that's stepping on the sideline by Maxey. Let me throw this theory. I've been asking some other analysts this year. So we've stretched out the three-point line. You're in favor of that, I know. I know this goes against 100 years plus of tradition. But could we not widen the floor a couple feet from 94.50 to maybe 94.52, say? You see a lot of guys still stepping out of bounds. Guys are bigger.
I'd like them to widen the lane, the international lane. I'd like them to widen the lane. You know, the court.
Richards on the rejection. I'm a little too radical on that one. I've had crazier ideas, you know this.
You know, you're gonna spend a lot of money to redo a lot of gyms. I'm just saying.
They're not going to hopefully ask me for donations on that as you see Richards take some more air out of the basketball. Richards.
And if I'm an offensive team against Kentucky, the way Richards leaves his guy to go block, I'm strategically going to try to have my guy move in a way that he could get either a ball off the backboard where you're not shooting it. It's a pass off the backboard.
Right.
In the old days, now this is way old days, a little older than some. In the NBA, Mark Eaton would always come across to block a shot, right?
Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah.
We used to drive and bounce it off the board across where his guy was.
Really?
So the center could get it the other way. Yeah. Wasn't a shot, just a pass across
so
the board.
So you were picking on poor old big, huge Mark Eaton.
Well, he was big.
Oh,
you can't pick on the size of that guy.
You ran into Mark Eaton. You felt it for a month.
Yes.
Another nickel and dimer on Kentucky. Three minutes into the second half. Wildcats up by 8. Thought about it. That's a deep three on the way. Pops out. Skying for the rebound is Maxey. Maxey to Hagans. Richards. Backdoor cut. Brooks almost had it. And then a jump ball, and the arrow will favor the Wildcats.
Richards' pass, it was halfway between a bounce pass and a chest pass. It was.
So what do we call that?
A bad pass.
A bad pass.
Yeah, he hit it by the bottom of his shorts without bouncing. I mean, he looked like he was going to bounce past it and then kind of just low and makes it hard to handle. Either you throw it up to the rim because he's cutting, or you have to bounce it underneath the arms of the defender.
A challenge pass.
What's easier to catch?
Higgins stops in the lane, draws contact, count the basket for the sophomore from Cartersville, Georgia, Ashton Higgins.
Once again, off the bounce, right? He is strong, and he gets to where he wants to go. And because of the speed he attacks right now, right when he jump stops, they've got to respond. If he doesn't, he would have just elevated. Takes the contact, finishes the play. Eyes on the rim.
Game high, 13 points, now 14 for Higgins, who's really taken over this offense when Kentucky has hit a rut.
Quickly back in the lineup, we'll see if he can get his offensive game going.
And Quickly's been quiet, just 0 for 2 from the field. Inside, Higgins, ball hawking, comes right in and forces the jump ball. It'll stay with Mount St. Mary's, but you show the pumpkin anywhere near Ashton Higgins, that's trouble.
Great forearms. I mean, he's got great hands, quick hands, but his forearms, he's strong. When he gets a hold of it, he's not letting go.
Shot clock at 7. Now down to 3 for Chong Kui. Kui's going to have to launch. He walked first. He's still got the shot to somehow go, but the travel will nullify the basket.
Good defensive stance that time by the Wildcats.
You would think the way this team has the length that Kentucky has, the quickness, this should be an elite defensive team, should it not, by year's end?
Yeah, by year's end. Again, you're working with young guys that are new. Nice pass. Easier finish.
Richards with 13 as he's given the rim a workout tonight. 5 of 7 from the field.
You know, this Kentucky team has a lot of interchangeable players. And on both ends, meaning defensively you can switch and do a lot of things. I'm going to go back. I think they'll shoot it better as the year goes on, which then will allow them to stretch the floor with all these different size players. But, I mean, you can just interchange the pieces.
Wildcats in the midst of an 8-0 run. Desperation 3, knocked down by Chong Kui. He is impressive.
All right, Mike, what's really cool is his last bounce before the jump shot. Okay, all you kids listening, your last bounce before the jump shot is a harder bounce that gets you into your shot.
Right.
Gets you right off into the shot, and that was firm off the floor, right to the jumper.
Quickly, jab step, knifes in the lane, and throws up the runner. Emmanuel Quickly is a guy at any moment can really heat up. He's got plenty of offense in his game. Nice shot.
And I thought by the end of last year, he was probably the most improved from the start to the end of the year.
Agreed. Largest lead for Kentucky of 12, and an air ball fired up and then a foul on Namake. Nick Richards with a whole lot of slams so far tonight. This is two-handed flush number 3 for the junior. He's got 13, and the Kentucky lead has swollen to 12.
These days, we're all stressed. I hear you, sister. That's why I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you to go in for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you feel, physically and emotionally. But now Cigna has a plan that can help everyone see stress differently. Just find a period of time to unwind, a location to de-stress, an activity to enjoy, or the name of someone to talk to. To create a plan that works for you, visit Cigna.com/mystressplan. Cigna, together, all the way.
Free one-day delivery on millions of items. With Prime.
It's undeniable this team at times has tested that man's patience. Offensive struggles, defensive breakdowns, sometimes the fouls, the whistles have caused Cal to be a little bit animated tonight.
He's pure entertainment.
He really is. He's TV gold.
Yeah, he really is. Fun to watch. Like when you're in the Hall of Fame, I mean, he's done it year in, year out. I'm always impressed. And here's the thing about a young team. If you have an old team, Rick Barnes' team last year, right, Tennessee, you can get 4 hours of practice in 2 hours. Drill to drill to drill to drill, right? Kids get to it. Kentucky hasn't done that in years. They never get to do that. I mean, think of that. They never get to, right? They never get to go from boom, 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 because it's always teaching. And you look at veteran teams and you go to a practice like we get to do, and you look at veterans. And I marvel more, Coach Cal, because every year he's got to keep doing it. Now, he's got elite athletes. And by the end of the year, they're way better. But it's not the same as juniors and seniors that go from one drill to the next, to the next, to the next.
It's not a job for everybody for a number of reasons. First of all, the Kentucky job is one of the most high-profile, highly criticized and critiqued jobs.
Yes.
And then when you recruit the way he is, in an era of one and done, two and done, you are constantly starting from scratch.
Well, another good jump shot. A lot of people thought that's not the way to do it, one and done.
Yep.
But it seems like other schools like Duke and the other ones start following along, didn't they?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to turn down the best players in the country, even if it's only for a short stint. Speaking of recruits, our own Paul Biancardi right now has Kentucky's class. We just finished the signing period. 6 signees already.
Wow, good pass.
Slam dunk for Whitney on the alley-oop. #1 class in America for Kentucky, and they might not be done. They might have a couple more coming up later. Now all of a sudden it's Mount St. Mary's settling for jump shots, and Kentucky making them pay on the other end. There's some instant offense by Emmanuel quickly, and a timeout called by the Mountaineers. 18-3 run for Kentucky.
And it's a catch and release. No thought process now in the second half for the shooters. The quick push, the quick release, no hesitation. When shooters do that, you get on a roll. Folks, Kentucky now on a roll.
Mom, why do we always come here for the holidays?
How did you find Great-Grandma's recipe?
We're related to them? We're Portuguese? I thought we were Hungarian.
Grandpa, can you tell me the story again?
Behind every question is a story waiting to be discovered.
I gotta get out of here. Which way? I don't know. What am I looking for? Something I can't see. I can feel it. It's magic. Sauvage. Le parfum. Dior.
On Friday, we've got a men's hoops doubleheader for you right here on the SCC Network. These same Kentucky Wildcats will play host to UAB here at Rupp. And our first game at 7 Eastern, then we'll take it to Gainesville. The Gators, fresh off that win over Miami, battling the thundering herd of Marshall. Mike Morgan, John Sunvold here at a packed house at Rupp Arena. Wildcat fans enjoying the start of this second half, and they're also going to enjoy a half a dozen players that have already punched their ticket to Lexington. This is the early signing period that just ended on Wednesday. 6 in all en route to the #1 ranked class in the country. Our own Paul Biancardi, a man of great recruiting credentials, not to mention impeccable hair, has that class #1. And again, talking to some of the folks here at UK, they might not be done yet.
You know, they're going to have to ship some guys out there.
Yeah.
You got guys coming in. Someone's going to have to leave.
You're going to have some one-and-dones like you normally do with Coach Cal. And, of course, the talented sophomores led by Ashton Hagens.
Good set play out of the timeout. Nice finish. Wow.
Ooh. How about that one? Hotway, top floor for that slam. Omar Hotway out of Lexington, Virginia. What you learn about these mid-major teams, the records can be very misleading because Mount St. Mary's has challenged themselves already quite a bit. They're a better team, but their record would indicate. Will Whitney's a better shooter than some of his numbers would indicate, and you saw it right there.
You know, teams like Mount St. Mary's, they've got to play for their budget. Like, they got to go on the road, play for their budget. Now, you get ready. Kids get ready, your team gets ready for conference play, but most importantly, then that conference tournament. You win it, you're in the NCAA.
In the Northeast, typically a one-bid league. Last year was Fairleigh Dickinson. Mount St. Mary's got to the tournament a couple of years ago, won a first 4 game.
And Dan Ingolstadt told us today, he said, you know, you play these games, maybe you get a win, maybe you know, somewhere, somehow, and so you're not a 16 seed. If you get the NCAA as a 13, 14, 15, changes the whole thing.
Totally different dynamics. Sestina, he's fired up. Another hoop and harm for UK. It is all going the way of Big Blue in this second half. 11:45 to go. Nate Sestina getting in on the fun. The transfer from Bucknell showing the jump hook shot plus the foul.
These days, we're all stressed. I hear you, sister. That's why I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you to go in for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you feel, physically and emotionally. But now Cigna has a plan that can help everyone see stress differently. Just find a period of time to unwind, a location to de-stress, an activity to enjoy, or the name of someone to talk to. To create a plan that works for you, visit Cigna.com/mystressplan. Cigna, together, all the way.
Time now for our Mayhem Moment, brought to you by Allstate. So much has been made about Kentucky's lack of three-point shooting. They missed the first 4 tonight. But, John, they made their last 5.
Yeah, 4-4 the second half. And, Mike, I was wondering, I thought they'd get it going. I just wasn't sure if when I'm here tonight or if you were back here Monday night, if they'd ever get it going. But finally, again, with confidence, stepping into the shot, feet are set, letting it go, and you see smiles on their faces. And when one makes, seems like they all start making it. The lid comes off and everybody's got a confidence going.
And you and I have seen enough jump shooters to know when a shot looks broken versus a guy with good form who's just not hitting for whatever reason. These guys have good form. Ashton Hagens has really improved his form in the offseason. You take a look at Maxi's form quickly. The problem is not, it seems to me, from a fundamental standpoint, they just, for whatever reason, weren't hitting.
Normally it's a hesitation, which is a confidence standpoint. Not that they're not confident, but when you hesitate and you think like, maybe it's not then it's over, right? There is no hesitation. Shooters shoot. And if you're a shooter, you catch it. You're open, you release.
And good shooting can be contagious. It certainly has been in the second half for Kentucky as Sestina gets 3 the hard way. He'll take a breather. Nick Richards back on the floor. He's had a terrific game thus far tonight. Richards with 13 points.
Think of the world for Nate Sestina. Last year at Bucknell, had a great year, had a great career there, and then transfers to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky, right?
Well, in the way it happened,
it's Kentucky.
It's Kentucky.
I mean, it's something else.
And he's not riding the bench. I mean, he's a focal player. Almost a turnover there. But Joe Meehan is the connection there. Somebody Coach Cal has known for a long time, and Joe Meehan said, look, I'm telling you, this kid can play in the SEC. He will help you.
That's neat.
And Coach Cal said, okay, we'll take a flyer on him.
Yeah.
And what a grab that's been.
Great experience for him. He brings experience to a young team.
And he's going to give a pat on the back to E.J. Montgomery, who just picked up his 4th foul.
All-Patriot League a year ago.
And he's played in 2 NCAA tournaments at Bucknell, so he's got some postseason experience. Tough 3 and right between the eyes of Ashton Hagens. Good-looking shot.
Yeah, Jalen Gibbs is a good shooter. He's a catch-and-release guy. Leads his team in scoring at 15 a game. And On the scouting report, they said don't let him catch it and just shoot it, make him put it on the floor.
You see Montgomery checking things out. Nate Sestina always in the game, a very vocal guy too, which this team could use. Khalil Whitney starting to show off a little more offensive prowess.
Well, we talked about him being a freak athlete, and you can just see it on a normal jump shot, the elevation he has. They won't be able to defend him.
And an offensive foul. Nice job by Nick Richards to take the contact.
Watch Richards step in there. And got a little bit of contact.
Good acting job as well. He sold it.
That's WWE kind of fun.
Yeah.
That went down hard for just a bump.
Sometimes you got to sell, right?
Yes, you do.
Kentucky trying to sell everybody that this offense is getting better, starting to figure some things out after a choppy couple of games here of late. Maxey, lightning quick. Maxey hanging and hitting. What a shot by Tyrese Maxey.
Against the matchup zone, the two defenders out front didn't get together. Can't allow a guy to go right down the middle against your zone defense.
11 points for the freshman. And then a reach-in foul on Brooks on the other end.
So you got two guys out front, zone defense. They've got to be able to contain a guy off the dribble. Maxey goes right between the middle of them and right down the lane. No help defensively.
Opoku, 6'9", redshirt sophomore, knocks down the first. Kentucky's got another game on Sunday. Pat Bradley and I will have the call for you on that one as they take on Lamar. So 2 games in 3 days. And one of the things Coach Cal was talking about today is, with all the injuries and the youth on this team, he almost wishes they could just have more practice times.
Right.
And you get paid to coach games, and the players want to play games, but sometimes you'd rather just have the time in the gym to improve. Maxey to Sestina. 8 on the shot clock. Whip it around Hagans. Killer crossover, missed the shot. And then Hagans almost stole it from behind. And a jump ball is called.
And neither official saw it.
Yeah, nobody saw it.
Yeah.
It was as Hagans completely came from behind. And I don't know what body part this hit last either. Looked like that's off of Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah, could have been Kentucky's ball, and it is Kentucky's ball.
Kentucky.
Off the jump.
Yep.
It's good officiating, though. I mean, don't make it up.
Right.
I didn't see it. You didn't see it.
It happens, even with a 3-man crew. You can't see everything. Hagans on a blow by. Missed the layup. You won't see that very often. Drive and kick, sets up the 3. Nice follow that time by Hobway. Kentucky up +7 on the rebound margin, but has allowed probably a few too many offensive rebounds for Coach Cal's liking. Hagans.
He had a layup.
Oh, did he ever?
He had a layup.
He just gave it up.
Now, he missed the last layup.
Right.
He had quite an expression on his face, and the bench was laughing. This one, he had a layup. Like, he had a layup.
Nobody was there. Unnecessary pass. Kentucky will keep possession. And real quickly, we'll check back into the game.
A lot of depth for Kentucky. They've got a lot of guys that can come in.
Well, they can come in and play that 3-guard offense at any time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go Hagans, Quickly, and Maxey. And if they're all clicking on full cylinders, that's a really difficult matchup for somebody. Sestina short arms the 3.
Shot 38%.
Oh my goodness. Brandon Leftwich. Where did that come from? I heard that one back in Brooklyn, New York, his hometown. I must admit, for all the candidates for the highlight slam of the night, I wasn't thinking Brandon Leftwich would top the list.
Leftwich, he had a little something for his teammates on the bench. Kind of caught us off guard, didn't it?
Sure did. I think it caught Kentucky off guard.
Coast to coast.
Maxie's thinking, you're not really going to challenge me, are you?
As he comes out, watch this response from his teammates.
Yeah, you know, no matter what happens the rest of the way.
Do you know what I just did?
Did you see that? Can I?
Everybody, come on.
Can we get a DVD copy?
Let's go. Love it.
Maxey operating up top. Finds Brooks. Slashing. And Brooks gets fouled on the drive. Keon Brooks, 6'7" freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's a young man that's still kind of feeling his way into the offense, see where he fits. The two guys that it might take a little more time. Whitney and Brooks, the talent is there, the athleticism is there, but where does everybody fit? That's what everybody's trying to figure out.
It is, Mike, it's not automatic that you just get to make this next step from one level to the next.
Right.
And it's automatically you're good. I mean, it takes a while.
You know, anybody who's...
Some can get it, but that's tough.
Even down to local Y, it's not always the most talented team in pickup that wins. It's the team that gels together a lot of times, and that doesn't happen overnight. It's only game number 5 for UK. Nice hands that time by Brooks, leading the break. Ahead to Quickly, and Emmanuel Quickly on the finish.
Speed. It was a blur from half court. It
Yes,
was quick.
it was.
Got there in a hurry. Much better defense the second half on the ball. Not letting guys turn the corner, staying, making the Mountaineers run more offense.
Nice drive, high off the window and in. Good shot by Jalen Gibbs, former transfer from Drake. Seven minutes remaining. Richards trying to show some range. That's the shot he worked on an hour and a half before tip-off tonight. Jump hook shots, mid-range jumpers.
Pick and pop just to the left of the free throw line, where again he's 85% shooter. So well executed.
Inside. And nice bucket there for Jefferson.
Sean Queeg kind of plays like Isaiah Thomas did when he was with the Celtics. Just dribble, dribble, dribble until you can find something.
Right.
Whether a shot or a teammate. It's been successful tonight. So matchup zone again. They change it about every other possession.
Quickly tried to split a double team, had it poked away. Leading the pack is Gibbs on the other end.
He's got good speeds, good score, shoots it well. We've seen a couple explosive plays now at the rim.
Don't think Coach Cal liked that decision by Emmanuel Quickly.
Well, the other part is if you go in the lane, if you're a guard, you better have defensive positioning from the weak side guard. If your point guard goes in, weak side better get back defensively. They didn't do it.
Timeout on the floor. The dunk of the night might be by the man from Mount St. Mary's, the 6'3" junior out of Brooklyn, New York. Brandon Leftwich, say hello to the rim.
Might be the shoes Look at these gold babies coming to you.
Everybody has a reputation, some good, some not so good. What if you could check people's reputation scores to find out who you're really associating with? That's the power of My Life. My Life is better than Google for uncovering everything from hidden criminal records to personal character reviews.
I look up everyone. Neighbors, home service providers, even so-called friends.
Reputation is everything. Protect yourself with My Life. Check anyone's reputation, including your own, at mylife.com.
On Saturday, we'll have another full slate of college football for you right here on the SEC Network. It's Auburn hosting Samford at noon, then UT Martin here in Lexington against the Wildcats at 3:30. Followed up by Tennessee at Missouri. On the Alt Channel, it'll be East Tennessee State against Vanderbilt, and Abilene Christian battling Mississippi State at 7:30 Eastern Time. Mark Stoops done a great job here at Kentucky. Of course, 10 wins a year ago, and they lose their starting quarterback early in the season, and they have to find somebody who can play the position. They wind up with their wide receiver, Lynn Bowden. And all he has done, with everybody in the stadium knowing what's going to happen, what does he do? He still rushes for 110 yards out of the quarterback spot against Vanderbilt. Fourth 100 rushing yard game in 5 starts at QB. I mean, he's been amazing for Kentucky.
How's the rumor mill doing with Stoops?
Oh, it's still out there until Florida State makes a hire.
Well, just checking.
Yep, it's definitely not going away anytime soon. I'll tell you, having done a number of football games here since Mark took over the job, I think he's done one of the most underrated jobs with a program in the country. I really do.
Yeah, he's been terrific.
Kentucky's been terrific in this second half. Up by 15 now, but when the game got a little bit hairy at the end of the first half, Kentucky out of intermission amped up everything, offensively, defensively, and yes, three-point shooting. As that time, it's quickly burying the three.
And it was really quickly that got everything going with the jump shot. It's his third three of the half.
Now, this will be a welcome sight for those that didn't catch the game. I know a lot of Kentucky fans, the first thing they'll look for is that box score and what do the Wildcats do from three?
Yeah.
And now 6 for 13 overall. They came in with just 13 threes all year. Richards to Higgins. Kick out pass from Sestina. Nice block. Good block.
And good swing by Sestina quickly.
Strong take by Leftwich. Leftwich has got some hops, folks.
This is a good team. This is a team that was picked about 7th in the Northeast Conference, but I think they've got a chance. Obviously, you play the schedule they're playing. Sacred Hearts, the pick, Robert Morris, LIU Brooklyn.
Now and again, they're without Vado Morse, one of their top scorers as well tonight. He's battling a knee injury.
Freshman of the year a year ago in the league.
Higgins. Juzang. Would love to get this young man's confidence going. And Richards fouled on the follow. Johnny Juzang is going to be a good shooter in time. Doesn't hit there. Kentucky, though, still in control with 3:47 to play.
Everybody has a reputation, some good, some not so good. What if you could check people's reputation scores to find out who you're really associating with? That's the power of My Life. My Life is better than Google for uncovering everything from hidden criminal records to personal character reviews.
I look up everyone. Neighbors, home service providers, even so-called friends.
Reputation is everything. Protect yourself with My Life. Check anyone's reputation, including your own, at mylife.com.
by 18 with 3:47 to go. Another great crowd here at Rupp Arena on a Friday night. We welcome you inside. Mike Morgan, John Sunvold. John, again, Kentucky at this time of year is still trying to figure out who they are exactly. Yeah. One guy who we know who he is and who he's going to become this year, Ashton Hagen's got a chance to be one of the best point guards in the country.
You know, when you're the lead guard, no matter what, and I say lead guard because you lead the others. And if the others are going, that's fine. If they're not, then you lead them the way you want to go. He's got great numbers, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He's been solid. Now, again, in the first half when they were bogged down, he took it baseline a couple times, once against a man-to-man, then against his zone. And in the second half, what he's been able to do, distribute to the guys that are running the floor, like Quickly's hit 3 threes. All those guys, that's great leadership.
You see the comfort level in his game, too, that maybe was not completely there a year ago. And the same could be said, for that matter, for Nick Richards, who's had a whale of a game. 6 of 8 from the field, 15 points. Quickly, instant offense off the bench with 13. And the talented freshmen Maxey and Whitney with 11 and 9, respectively. There's going to be a lot of nights where a different player leads the way. We mentioned that at the top, 4 for 4 going into this game, John.
Makes you a harder team to defend.
Right.
If you've got a number of guys offensively that can get you 15 or 20 on any given night, then all of a sudden the scouting report for the opponent goes, okay, which piece do we want to shut down? And if you take something away, something else is going to open up. And this Kentucky team's got enough weapons. Again, there's a confidence factor of getting everything going on the offensive end from outside.
And one thing Kentucky continues to do, and they did it last year, and they've done it several years under Coach Cal, they dominate the free throw line. They've shot more than double the amount of free throws this season than their opponents, and they've been hitting them at a good percentage coming into this game, 79% from the stripe.
Well, a good number is they're up to 19 assists on 29 baskets. And only now 11 turnovers. They had quite a few in the first half.
Yeah, good pace to pick up their 4th win of the year with a chance at number 5 on Sunday at 6 o'clock. That'll be against Lamar right here on the SEC Network.
Got Pat Bradley with you.
Yeah, the shooter will come in. He'll be firing up some threes.
He would not hesitate if the leather touched his hand.
Never does. Never met a shot he doesn't like.
No, that's what they pay you for. Sometimes you got to tell a kid, hey, do you know why you're on scholarship?
Yeah,
because that's what you do.
That's what you do. And now he's expanded his repertoire to oversized pocket squares. Man of a lot of versatility. Under 3 minutes to go. Inside good Richards, catch. And Richards just giving the rim a workout tonight.
Yeah, good find, but really good catch. You got a guy coming across, almost ripped his arm away, but he still held on the ball and finished it.
Steal. And Hagen's bumped and fouled.
Does anybody play the passing lane any better in the country? I'm not sure. He's got such a burst of speed and quickness that you think that pass from the wing to the point is open, and boom, he catches it almost with 2 hands. I mean, he's there before the offensive player's there.
Co-SEC Defensive Player of the Year last year with 61 steals. I think he could be in that 75-80 range this year.
They're going to swing the ball, and boom, he's there. And in an instant, I mean, it looked open. We're sitting right here, looked open. Such speed. Now, there's another part of that. Pays attention to scouting report.
Right.
What are they running? Where's my guy going? Mostly guys who steal balls are normally, they'll get them from playing a different guy. They'll know an offense and they'll shoot the gap. Not with their guy not even in that play.
Right.
They'll know, hey, this guy's going to come low. I'll go across and steal it. And he's one of those guys.
He'll get a rounding ovation as he goes to the bench. What a night for the sensational sophomore. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and only 2 turnovers in 29 minutes. You think of the point guards in the Southeastern Conference this year. Going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. The league's going to be good. And I know the teams they put down the bottom, I'm not sure they're going to sit down the bottom.
Yeah. Well, what was it, 2 years ago? You had Tennessee and Auburn ranked at near the bottom. Both those teams battled for the SEC championship, wound up being regular season co-champions.
Yeah. You know, when the preseason stuff comes out, there's always, if a team doesn't have a star, player, like a star player, it seems like they drop down a bit. And I know a lot of teams, I know the guy at Missouri, Conzo Martin, is pretty quietly comfortable with his squad. I think of Frank Martin is quietly, you're going to take some lumps now and then.
Right.
I think you get to league play, there's some teams that are picked on that lower level that are going to go, okay, we'll see how we are.
Well, I mean, Frank's got A.J. Lawson. You're talking about a guy who could be playing in the NBA a year from now as a point guard. Alabama, you mentioned Cairo Lewis earlier, very talented sophomore. They were fortunate to keep him with the coaching change.
And think what Vandy's doing. Neesmith's averaging nearly 27 a game, right? We knew he's got Saban Lee almost 20 a game. Scottie Pippen Jr. now is emerging as a guy. He's had 21 points the other night. So, you know, just you have a few guys that can put the ball in the bucket, you got a chance.
You really do, and there's sometimes you have a program or two in any league that's just in a complete state of flux. I don't see that. Even with the new coaches, I think most of these programs are poised to compete. It's not a total rebuild anywhere that I can see.
Well, when your league gets good, it's at the fact that it's top to bottom great. Last year, 7 NCAA teams, 4 in the Sweet 16.
2 in the Elite 8. Kentucky and Auburn battling for that Final Four spot.
12 tournament wins, 12 draft picks. I mean, it's a power league.
Well, you know, having watched this league go through different stanzas. I remember when it was normal to get 6 back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then I sat here and watched the league really hit rock bottom. And credit to everybody in the SEC office and to these institutions making a full commitment to the sport, saying, why not us, essentially? We're going to spend the money. We're going to make the hires.
Let's be honest, it's the best league in about every sport, so why wouldn't it be in basketball?
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
every sport. Great coaching hires, great recruiting, and then the next part was scheduling.
Yep. And they've solved all those quandaries. Don't forget, after we're done here, when the clock hits zeros, John Calipari will chat with us. I have the feeling, Coach Cal, you know, he always finds something to build on, but the way that he obviously wasn't too happy when he talked to you at halftime. The first half was not a thing of beauty, but this second half, just about everything going right.
Well, it wasn't like pulling teeth, obviously, but it wasn't a pretty first half.
Right.
Then he had that puzzled look on his face of just, there's questions, right?
Yes.
There's questions, no matter which guys are going in. If he's got a certain group playing well, once you sub, all of a sudden things go a little goofy. But, again, I think expected. Every year we kind of say the same thing about Kentucky.
Basket 19.
Crowd wants a shot. Welch needs a shooting.
Riley Welch, you got to fire one up, big guy. Little shake and bake, crossover. Welch on a fade.
I love the crossover.
It's not easy to sit on the bench for 2 hours and come up with that move. Kentucky wins it convincingly. 82-62, the final score. And it proves to 4-1 on the season. John Sunvold, some final thoughts.
You know what? I thought a great second half. A little more loosely than the fact that shooters didn't think about it. Just shoot it, come in, do what you're doing. And when they do that, they space it out better offensively. Outstanding.
That's it for us. For John Sunvold, Mike Morgan saying so long as we wrap up our coverage and send you down to the SEC Now studio with Dari Noka and Pat Bradley.
Kentucky Office of Highway Safety reminds you to always be safe, Kentucky.
Yes. When you have a team this young, well, first of all, I went and said I'm putting EJ in that lineup, and we went from there. We haven't had him for a while. We hadn't had Emmanuel for a while. We've been practicing with 6 guys. It's tough for me as a coach because we have a culture of how we play. We couldn't practice the way we wanted to play. But pick and roll defense was so bad, but they listened and they came and pushed up, and the bigs talked, and we just took that away, which they were scoring at will in pick and roll in the first half. We still, there was some, Nick went to help, and we didn't get rebounds on the weak side. I want to strangle guys. I'm starting to take them out. You're out. You are out. We're working on it. You must rebound that ball if Nick goes to block. You cannot stand there. So we've got a lot of stuff. Look, we had 20 assists or more. We're last in our league in assists right now. Last, which, it's crazy. We got an offensive rebound better than we are. So we'll go from there. How many did we make today? That's all we need to make. 6, 7, maybe 8 would be a big game. If we make 9 or 10 or 12 threes, we're winning by 30. I don't care who we're playing because we don't play that way. But if we can make 6 or 7, the other team makes 8, he lost you a couple points. But we're getting to the foul line. We're posting the ball. We're being aggressive. The biggest thing we have to do is share the ball. We're not passing to each other. Like, we're not making any easy plays for the other guys. So today, having 20 assists, we still have a couple guys that they get it, and their whole thought is, I'm shooting this, and if I can't shoot it, I'll throw it to you. And then the guy gets it in a bad position. But we're working on it, and it's a work in progress. After that first half and how we started and let them back in it, it's what, again, you got to own your performance in that. If you walked in the game and they went on a 10-0 run with you in, you got to own that. Say, okay, I had to be a part of it because I was on the court. We got to get to where every guy comes in and helps us, and they're capable of that. Thanks, guys.